Ibi Lepsicki Amadeus Mozart, illustrated by Paolo Cardoni. Amadeus was a lovely, happy boy. He ran and jumped and chased his sister Mariana, who was 5 years older than he. He raced with Pimperl, his little yellow dog, and he played tricks on Teresa, the cook. He loved to be on the move. If someone made him stand still, he would beat his heels together and blink his eyes impatiently. He liked to play with words. Sometimes he would talk in a funny way, making up strange little nonsense songs like ships with big sails run before gales till the wind fails. Only music had the power to keep him calm and silent. Whenever his father gave music lessons to Mariana, Amadeus would sit very quietly in a corner without moving, just listening. His mother would sigh with relief. Then one day Amadeus suddenly climbed up on the piano bench and played a minuet his father had just taught Mariana. He played the song perfectly, without hitting one wrong note and without even having had a lesson. And so his father, who was an expert in music, realized that Amadeus had a great talent for music and an amazing musical memory. From that day on, Amadeus's father gave him violin and piano lessons every day. Amadeus learned easily and soon surpassed Mariana in skill. Mariana, who adored her little brother, was not jealous of his success. Instead, she was very proud of him. So was Amadeus's mother, who especially enjoyed the perfect little sonatas that he composed. After a while, Amadeus's father, proud of his son's accomplishments, decided to let everybody know of his wonderful child. And with that decision, the life of young Amadeus became almost a fairy tale. At age 7, when other children were attending school, Amadeus was traveling with his father and sister to all the royal palaces of Europe. Across the land, he was admired and applauded by emperors and empresses, kings and queens, princes and princesses. At that time, in the courts of Europe, royal families seemed to be competing to give the most beautiful parties, the most unusual shows. They held one event after the other, dances, masquerades, theatricals, concerts, and they were always looking for something special to present. So when they learned about young Amadeus and his spectacular talents, his ability to repeat on the violin and piano very difficult music he had heard only once, and to compose on the spot magnificent musical pieces, everybody wanted to see him, hear him, and applaud him. For his royal concerts, Amadeus wore an elegant suit, blue satin shoes with golden buckles, and a little sword on his side. He looked like a miniature cavalryman. Mariana accompanied him proudly on the piano. Often when he played the violin, ladies in the audience would look forward and stare at him through their opera glasses to make sure that Amadeus was really a child and not a dwarf. At a concert in Italy, before playing for the king and queen, Amadeus had to take a ring from his finger because the people thought it might be the magical cause of his extraordinary abilities. But Amadeus's accomplishments were definitely not the result of magic, and despite his powered wig and cavalryman costume, he was definitely a child. He traveled among emperors and empresses, kings and queens, and he received applause, admiration, and fine gifts. Did all this attention make Amadeus conceited? Did the splendor of the courts blind him to everyday fun? No, Amadeus remained the same boy as before. After the concerts and the applause, he played with the little princess and chased the princesses, just as he chased Mariana and Pimperl at home. At night, Amadeus would not go to bed until he had sung to his father a funny little song full of words he had made up. He called it Orania Vitafania. At the end, he would kiss his father on the nose. Also, Amadeus created his own imaginary kingdom. He named it the Kingdom of Rücken, and he was its king. In Rücken, every citizen was good and faithful. Amadeus even designed a map of his imaginary kingdom and named all of its cities, rivers, and mountains. No, success did not spoil Amadeus, and the splendor of the court did not blind him. The music that was in him was a great gift, a gift that he appreciated and that far outshone everything else in the world. But while Amadeus, his family, and certain other wise people recognized the richness of Amadeus's talents, many did not. They saw only the sensational side of his performances, not the artistic side. So sometimes his concerts were announced like this. Because of overwhelming enthusiasm, Amadeus Mozart will today, August 30, perform one additional final concert for your amazement. Just 6 years old, this child will not only play on the piano and the violin, the most difficult music of advanced teachers, but will also play violin concert and piano symphonies with a keyboard covered with a felt cloth. In addition, he will correctly name from a distance all notes played separately or in chords on the piano or on bells, glasses, or other objects. And finally, he will improvise on the piano and the organ in all the most difficult keys. To the people reading such announcements, young Amadeus was considered an amusing show. He was enjoyed like the jugglers, acrobats, and tightrope walkers who sometimes performed with him. "Little Mozart is an impressive child, that's all," said a very learned critic. Fortunately, Amadeus's father realized that all the traveling and all the exhibitions were preventing the boy from developing his marvelous creative qualities. Also, Amadeus was growing tired and no longer had his pink cheeks and lively ways. So his father decided to bring Amadeus home. "Good," said Amadeus, "I will go back to my kingdom of Rücken." And without regret, he left the sparkling courts of Paris and London and Vienna, left the applause and admiration, and returned home with his father and sister. His family was happy to see him. Pimperl barked in joy. Teresa prepared him a cake, and his mother embraced him tenderly. At home, Amadeus did not just play. He wanted to write down all the music he had in his mind so he would not be lost. He spent hours at his desk. His father, who felt responsible to God for the artistic education of such a gifted son, designed a course of study for Amadeus. It was difficult and demanding. But young Amadeus worked hard. He explored many fields of music. He created new styles of expression. He achieved new heights of beauty and perfection. And in time, Amadeus wrote some of the world's most beautiful music and became one of the greatest composers who ever lived, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.